How's it going, guys? Today I wanted to make a video about giving your 2 weeks notice. So for those of you guys who are not aware, I made a video about a week ago explaining why I quit my job about 2 months ago in the middle of February. And so because I decided to basically up and leave that opportunity, I had to give my 2 weeks notice before I actually left the company. So for those of you who are not aware of what a 2 weeks notice is, it's basically you giving your company notice that you are deciding to leave and terminate your employment with that company in 2 weeks. So I think that giving your 2 weeks notice is a stressful thing to do. And I think a lot of people might even shy away from the idea of leaving a job and pursuing another opportunity because they have to have this uncomfortable conversation, right? To leave this opportunity, they have to go through this weird middle ground of them telling their employer that I'm actually going somewhere else, or I'm just leaving the company, or whatever it might be, right? You have to have this very uncomfortable, oftentimes, conversation with your manager or your boss, telling them you're deciding to leave the company. And so I really don't want that to be the case for you guys. And luckily it wasn't for me, but you know, it could be a tough conversation to have, but ultimately if that's the best thing for you to do and that's the decision you want to make, regardless of how tough that conversation might be, I want to make sure that you guys feel confident enough to do that, right? Have that conversation, make that tough choice, and ultimately do what's best for you and leave that company if that's what you decide. So I really just want to make this video kind of giving you guys my advice for how to give your 2 weeks notice. And if you do decide to leave an opportunity, hopefully you'll take these tips and apply them so that, you know, fingers crossed, you can give your 2 weeks notice to your employer in the best possible way. I think my first tip for you guys today is to make sure that when you go into that conversation with your boss or your manager, you go in with your mind made up, right? You're going in to give them your 2 weeks notice. You're going to do so, and by the end of that conversation, they will know that you're leaving the company in 2 weeks, and you will know that in 2 weeks you will no longer be at the company. I think that this is really important because I think if you don't go in with that mindset of I'm giving my 2 weeks notice and I'm leaving in 2 weeks, I think it's very possible that your manager or your boss can try and talk you into staying at the company. And I think personally, you can consider it if you want to, but I think chances are that if you're serious enough to go in and give your 2 weeks notice, you should probably be leaving that company anyways. And I think if you do get convinced into staying at that company, I don't know how happy you'll be, or maybe you'll just want to give your 2 weeks notice shortly after anyways. My next tip for you guys is to make sure that you remind yourself that you are doing what's best for your career, you're doing what's best for your health, you're doing what's best for your family, or whatever any other reason might be that you're deciding to leave this opportunity. So even though this might be a tough conversation to have and ultimately a weird or uncomfortable situation to be in, it's important that you do whatever is best for you in this situation. So regardless of how uncomfortable that might make you or how tough that conversation is to have, you need to make sure that you do what's best for you, and if that's leaving the company, that's what you have to do. So this is kind of along the same thought process, but I think it's also important to remind yourself that you're not doing anything wrong, right? You are making a decision to leave this opportunity, and that's totally fine, right? Most opportunities are at will, specifically in tech, meaning that I can leave whenever, and my employer could terminate my employment whenever. So just remind yourself that what you're doing isn't bad, it's not wrong, it's just a decision that you've made. And sometimes it's a tough decision to execute. I think a lot of times people have this, I don't want to say it's not reciprocal, but people have this loyalty to the company that they work for. And loyalty might be the wrong word, but they feel like they can't leave. Like they feel like it's wrong of them to leave and that it's not what they should do. But it's business, right? At the end of the day, they have to provide an opportunity that's worth it for you, and you're providing work that's worth it for them, right? It's a two-way relationship, it's reciprocal. You need to make sure that it's working out as much as it's working out for them, right? And if it's not, for whatever reason, you should leave that opportunity. At the end of the day, it's business, and you need to make sure that you do whatever's best for you. My next tip for you guys is to make sure that when you're actually in that meeting giving your 2 weeks notice, you make sure that you convey to your manager that you were thankful for the opportunity. Right? Be thankful. You had hopefully a great opportunity that you enjoyed very much. You're very thankful for the opportunity that the company provided you. You're very thankful for all the things that you learned and the products that you got to develop and work on, as well as hopefully the coworkers and the culture, et cetera, et cetera. So definitely make sure that you guys touch on the things that you liked and let them know that, right? I think it's important that you tell them, even though I'm leaving, these are things that I really appreciated. And these are the things that this company has done for me, and I'm very grateful for that. Right, so if you tell your manager all that, right, if you tell them that you've ultimately decided to leave the company, maybe it was a tough choice for you, but you have to ultimately do what's best for you, and that you're very thankful for the opportunity and the time that you spent here, the things that you learned, the people that you worked with, and your manager is not receptive to it, barring any kind of extenuating circumstances like you not being a good employee, I think that that's just a sign of a bad manager, and that should really just further solidify your decision to leave. I think that if you could deliver the fact that you're ultimately deciding to leave the company, and you do so gracefully and on good terms, the manager should really be receptive to that, right? Maybe it makes their life a little bit harder because now they have to find someone to replace you, but a good manager should really be happy for you for pursuing a new opportunity or whatever that decision is for you to leave that company. I think that a good manager should, one, really wish you well in whatever your future endeavors might be, and two, I think that they should ask you questions about why you're deciding to leave and ultimately what factors made you decide to do so. A good manager should actually want to collect that feedback, and whatever they can change or make better in the future to hopefully retain more employees, they should want to get that information so they could try and do that. So guys, those are all my tips for how to effectively give your 2 weeks notice. Again, this is a conversation that I had to have with my manager about 2 months ago when I decided to leave my job. If you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, do me a favor and leave the video a like and subscribe to the channel for more. And I'll see you guys next time.